their high-end agent upwards of $20,000 per month, functioning as a PhD level research assistant, so handling tasks along those lines. It's crazy to see the rapid growth from OpenAI. It's almost scary good, right? What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Autonomous Income. I'm your co-host, Deuce Noble.
And I'm your co-host, DJ. What's going on today, Deuce?
Hey, man, it's cool things that's been going on. A lot of things been dropping. A little bit of speculation, some rumor mill. But the big thing, some news that's rumored out of the OpenAI shop, their new $20,000 agent that's coming and dropping. Boom. 20,000 American US dollars.
A month.
They're going to be a month.
A month, yeah.
Not just one-time payment per month. Yeah, you're right. They have been rumored to be releasing, and which is actually their most expensive one, but there's a couple agents they're releasing. So let's go ahead and unpack it, get into it, and what are your thoughts? What do you think about it so far? What was your first reaction, DJ?
So, Deuce, today, we're going to have to handle this a little different and speculate a little bit. Like this, I think is just... This is barbershop talk. This is barbershop tech talk. Barbershop tech talk for sure, because of the fact that, man, like this just has major implications, right? I mean, like, and of course, like when it made the headlines, the major part of it was just saying like there's different versions. So apparently there might be like a $5,000 one. I have to get the numbers. I just know the maximum was $20,000. Probably bring that up here shortly, but essentially,
go ahead and rewind real quick and just give the overall. So what the reports are stating is, right, OpenAI has announced a pricing structure for these agents that they are going to cater various market segments, right? They have 3 distinct tiers. The low-end agents are going to be priced around $2,000 per month, which is targeting high-income knowledge workers. So your research facilities and all that kind of thing, or just, regular workers who have high income, but, they're, got PhD type of thing, right? $2,000 per month. Their mid-tier agent is going to be around $10,000 per month, which is designed for software development tasks. Go figure, right? And then their high-end agent, upwards of $20,000 per month, functioning as a PhD level research assistant, so handling tasks along those lines. So, of course, these agents are expected to revolutionize, they say, task automation across different industries, with OpenAI executives discussing the potential launches with investors. I think the company's pricing approach, it's going to, apparently, this is what they say from Perplexity AI, is saying they're aiming to capture a significant share of the burgeoning AI market, which is kind of some of the points we've been talking about. Like they're trying to get a real big hold of the market, and this is projected to exceed 1 trillion with a T in revenue within the next decade. All right, so
that's crazy. I mean, but yeah, I mean, like, it's OpenAI, right? I mean, they are probably the biggest name that's out there, right? When people kind of think about chatbots and AI as it is right now, my thought is that people would think of OpenAI first, right? Or ChatGPT, like that might be the most well-known product that's kind of out there, and definitely company for that measure. And as the TechCrunch article says, it's unclear when these agentic tools might launch or which customers will be eligible to purchase them. But the information notes that SoftBank, so remember SoftBank, they had that big investment deal with one of OpenAI's investors who's committed to spending $3 billion on OpenAI's agent products this year alone. And that's, this calendar year alone. So regardless of the fact, I just think, and I'm glad you were able to find the price. It does show the $2,000 a month, the $10,000 a month, or up to $20,000 a month. Now we have to think,
is it worth it?
With these prices, is it worth? Well, and then do we get into the point where is this where job displacement may happen because of, like the capabilities? And of course, you don't want to get too far ahead. You want to see it, exactly what they're available to. But if we're talking about PhD type of research and just, different type of facets of what these agentic models, because apparently these will be, autonomous, like as much as autonomous as possible, basically, with these agents is what's been speculated and what all the articles that are coming out. There's some from TechCrunch, The Verge had an article, Yahoo Finance, some other ones that I read personally. And, of course you can look on Perplexity, but yeah. What's your thought? I see you over there in deep thought.
Okay, so if we're talking 20K a month, right, that's what, over 120 for the year? That's no cheap, just write off, right? That is very steep, even on PhD.
That might be lower than some people's
So
salary though.
okay,
This is
if we're
where you
talking
got to
about,
start weighing
like
those scales though, because I
that
mean, like,
job
you know,
displacement now that is shaking up actual job displacement market, I want to know what these numbers are. Like, let's say for example, me as a software developer, how much does it cost a company to keep me on payroll? Not just pay me, because that's not including my full package of what it costs them to keep me, right? Do you think it's more than 20K a month? That's hard. I mean,
I mean,
granted,
I would say,
let's
I
say
mean,
like
it, you know, of
a
course, there's a
big,
lot of, there's, I mean,
just be
it's
neutral.
dependent on a lot, right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, if it's a big tech company, I mean, like, you know, because there's like the benefit,
right.
there's the basically your total compensation package, right? I would think you
Ah,
could exceed that,
that's
especially if you have restricted
crazy.
stock units. You know, I mean, if you have, you know, you won't have to give it an agent equity in your company, right? So,
You won't. You're
I
right.
mean, you know, I mean, honestly, you just won't, you know, there won't be equity that agent. Yeah, so a lot of that, just let
I'm
alone just for
just so
base salary,
curious.
but
Like
there's bonuses and all kind of
this
other
is
things like
so
that. You
steep,
just,
right? In the sense of like, obviously, if this comes at a price of 20K a month, I need unlimited, prompts, the works, right? Because I want to understand those who are going to be utilizing this, their partners, OpenAI's partners, what does that return on that investment look like for real? If I was spending 20K every month, like, is this going to be a subscription? Cancel any time? Like, that's kind of hard to just cancel a 20K subscription, bro. Like, do I get a free trial? Look, can you
I mean,
imagine?
to
Can you imagine? Oh,
cancel it'll be easy.
you get a free trial. Look,
To cancel it'll be easy, bro.
I mean, I'm notorious for canceling free trials. Look, I put up 12 different emails just to have a free trial. I ever pay it. Like, so I just want to know what that in return looks like. What comes with it? Like, I know this is all speculation because OpenAI, we need more information. You can't just drop, yeah, we got a new agent coming, 20K.
Man, I just, you know, like my thing is just, and you know, I think we could get really ahead of ourselves anytime because, like, as these new pieces of functionality, like we've been through it all, right? Like through, I mean, even prior to LLMs becoming, you know, really prominent out there in the market, and a lot of people like, you know, kind of delving into that space, like, you know, just traditional models and using those in like consumer facing experiences, right? Like we've been through that, and then like those were kind of like a cool thing, right? Like personalizing experiences, right? Like having something that came up with somebody qualified to see it, all of those things, and then now you get to a point where now, and what it sounds like, one point of clarification is that this should be like, I think they're saying like autonomous agents, like, right? Like they, and I don't know how the integration will look in the stack, or you know how it will, you know, manage the orchestration, but I mean, apparently, like it will automatically do a lot of things, especially for 20,000 a month. And you know, that sounds like it's well suited for mid-sized to large companies, right? And then maybe the $2,000 a month would be like for your smaller companies, you know, to implement. But you know, that just, when I saw that and I saw that 20,000 a month, and I was just, I could almost see it happen because you could see when they went from plus, right? It was like, okay, $20 a month. Then the pro plan, and it was
You
like
know,
$200 a month. And some people like, ooh, you know, I can't even, you know, they couldn't see that. Now 20,000. So here's the thing. What's the next price? Because you know, like if you look at your bigger companies, like, and if they're staking so much on this, like, and
I
they're
just want
saying,
to know
hey, you know, they're
where
gonna
they
really
pull
start
these
ramping
numbers
up,
from. It's
and
like they're
you
pulling
know, they
out of
want to start,
a
you know, really.
pulling out of a Powerball thing. Because I'm just saying, like, you got to think who's putting together the price package for this. You got to think because I mean, if we're being realistic, right? We know we can look at the financials. OpenAI seemingly looks like they need money, right? They've lost roughly about what 5 billion in the last year with a B, and I think.
Yeah, I think that's what they. But, you know,
But I mean,
that's most people
in
when
essence,
they're
they're
in the
not
R&D
necessarily
phase, and they're,
profitable at
you
that
know what I
point,
mean,
right?
like
So
they're.
it's like they've got to, I think someone's in their attorney table is like, we have to learn into turning a bigger profit with better returns. But I want to know what their research is telling them that there's people looking to spend this, institutions, whatever, colleges, universities. I don't know what problems are you going to look to solve at the PhD level research that is worth 20K. However, this may be very viable because, I mean, I'm not a PhD research person, but I feel like there may be instances where 20K a month is really a drop in the bucket if you think about what PhD research really does and how much they might spend on certain things.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah. So you have to look at that return on the investment, right? Just like with anything in business, right? You have to say like, and I think initially they'll probably work with somebody they're probably working with somebody now to kind of to use this, and so they can use it as a MVP use case or like a persona to say, hey, look what we did for XYZ company with whatever agent, that they deployed in their stack that was able to do whatever the outcome is, right? But it looks like they're targeting enterprise
Okay,
clients willing to pay a
on the
premium
flip
for
side,
automation
all
at
right.
scale. So it
I know
is
the
for
flip side to
enterprise
that.
clients.
Knowing that OpenAI's loss in over 5 billion last year came from running a lot of their services and expenses to, run a lot of the LLMs that they came out with, right? Now that they're coming out with, this agent or these agents, I would say, for subscription agents, will it cost even more to run those services to support those agents? Like I just want to know for OpenAI's sake, how much is it going to cost them to run a $20,000 agent on the back end if someone, subscribes to it? Is it going to balance out for them, right? Because granted, you could look at, like you said, their plus model, $20 a month, which is, their first subscription they came out with, right? Obviously they were losing money with that. So, okay, now let's come out with, the pro, or was it the pro and plus? Now $200 a month, right? Like you were saying, okay, to kind of recoup some of those costs. Now they're going deep in their bag to starting out with 2K per month for their low end agent, which is really cool in my opinion as far as agentic AI gets. But man, these high, do they know that the U.S. is $1 trillion in debt?
Wasn't it recently though that Sam Altman said that OpenAI that they were running low on GPUs, or that they need more GPUs? I mean, this brings up what you're saying. If you frame that right, what kind of capacity can they handle, right? Like if this goes wild and there's a lot of big companies that say, okay, we want the $20,000 agent. If they're like, shut up and take my money type of thing going on, like what does that, you know what I mean? Like, what does that look like essentially? Like, because you can use that, but just going back to the vein, like if this does, like I'm just so interested to see OpenAI's operator, right? Like we looked at that and we could see the functionality, how it's just going off autonomously, and it's kind of going through websites and hit or miss. It's still in preview and all those things. And if this isn't anything like the next level of that, right? If this is like saying, okay, this is that, but now it can handle like a software developer's role, right? It can go in there and I mean like somebody would be able to go in there and give the agent instructions, and it's actually able to go in there, hop in the code base, and just update it, optimize it, whatever it needs to do, refactor some things. Like now you got to start looking at like, how is that really going to impact the workforce? And when I say impact, it's not all doom and gloom, because like everybody's saying, it's new roles will be created and new people like will be doing different types of things and all that. But this is just so interesting, I guess, specifically for us coming from the tech realm, right? Both in product management and development.
It will
Like
be.
it's just
So looking a
this
little bit
seems like
further into
it'd be
some of
interesting.
these articles, there's a bunch out there popping up, but OpenAI is very ambitious for this vision, but it's backed by their substantial financial report, apparently, and research and projected revenue growth, that they are anticipating that these new agents will contribute up to 20 to 25% of its total revenue in the future. Total revenue. So, like I
Yeah,
said, they're over
total
here
revenue,
trying to
exactly. Yeah.
essentially get back in blood what they lost, right? Because you got to think, like, they're trying to get their get back right now, and they're going to recoup that using this. I wonder how long it's going to take for that to recoup, because 20 to 25% of its total revenue, however, that's nearly a quarter of your revenue, but that other 75%, 75 to 80% it's going to be interesting how they poise themselves to get that, right? Because a quarter of your revenue is good, but like you said, that investment is going to be bolstered by SoftBank. But I think this will not only, I guess, in my opinion, since that return will just kind of be bolstered by one, SoftBank's investment, but this will bring more investors now, right? Potentially, maybe. Yeah, so SoftBank invested over 3 billion towards the development of it, and there could potentially be more, right? Do you think? Because what was OpenAI had another round of their last round of investments, right? Or what was it? It was something crazy, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I think
It
wasn't
was it was
the
something crazy.
highest
So
investment round,
I'm
wasn't it
curious if
like
they're going to
60
have
something?
another, or when they're going to go public. Because when they go public, it's going to that might be what we're.
Yeah, we can drop a link to that in the chat below. But I mean, my thing is just like, just if you speculate a lot, I mean, it seems kind of cool. Just I definitely want to see what it scales out to be, because the closest thing I think I can think of that this would relate to is their operator, which is currently in preview. And we've seen that used it like in it. I mean, there's some use cases that I've seen. Like I even saw Cody Sanchez on her YouTube channel. She was using it to, run some sort of business. She was like, if I needed to make $1,000 in one day, could OpenAI's operator, make me $1,000 in a day? And she prompted it, and she had to go through and like, you could watch the video, but basically you'll see like kind of the pitfalls where it fell short and where it, actually did really well. And then it starts opening you up to kind of think like, man, how can I kind of use this? And just in that, and that's just like, potentially if that was a small business, right? So now if you get to like, if that's refined and it's a lot better version of an operator and it's multifaceted and you just get more access to it, you can have competitive analysis done, like when it says PhD level research, I mean, like, that's a lot for your strategy and all kind of other stuff that businesses, leverage. I don't know. It just seems, it seems pretty cool. I just can't wait to see how it unfolds as it goes in there. But I just remember when I heard about it, essentially, I just know a lot of articles, started to come out about that. I was talking to some colleagues and everything like that. And it's been wild.
Like I said, it's one of the things like I really want to see these things in action. But also, I guess, if you think about it, right, these agents can work 24/7, whereas a human needs to sleep, right? A human. But so I think it'll be interesting because you can really kind of speed up timelines with things by having it work continuously, right?
Now, granted, I mean, if you still have the human in the loop situation, that's why, I guess we need to understand more, to kind of feel like how it would actually flow, what they're actually going to do. Because, I mean, with the operator, it still is human in the loop, right? Because the human, like, you have to go in there, prompt it. You have to kind of say, hey, this is what you want to do. And just like kind of Corsair, when you're coding, vibe coding, or whatever it is, like you still are, kind of in the mix with this, as autonomous. Like if you're talking about autonomy, that's like really hands off, right? That's just like, hey, I'm handing this task over or these sets of tasks over or this, responsibility. So I'm just trying to understand what that would look like. Like say, hey, agent, like if it's a social media agent, you handle my posting, the content creation, all of these things, and you post on this schedule and like, they just handle that. And you also look at the analytics based off of that and you optimize and reiterate and all of those things. So like that could be certain use cases. I'm not saying for their agent, I doubt that they're going that realm, but I mean, like that's when you start getting into like, just a lot of the things. I mean, if you think in corporate, right? I mean, you have designers, you have your product team, you have your innovation teams and everything like that. You have, of course, your developers. When you put something like this and that, I wonder if it's just like, maybe it's like a lower product owner, product manager who's, like this can kind of help with some of the research onto like what's trending out there in the market. So that way you can kind of just make sure that your product is that you're releasing the correct features and all of those things. Like, I just hate to speculate. I just think it seems cool and I want to see how it's kind of
No, you're right. I think it'll be
different types
very
of roles.
interesting to see in that sense. But it's just like all those shocking, like the sticker prices. You're like, this ain't cost how much? Man, what's it do? Like, what do I get with that? But like I said, I think it'll be interesting to see how it ends up, especially in real world applications. Like, I know they say it can do a lot of things, but putting it to the test is different than saying it can do these things. Like, we really stress some of those prompts and stress test a lot of the things that you really needed to do and wanted to do because the use cases are going to be, unmatched. So it'll be interesting to see a quick update. I think the last round, OpenAI raised $6.6 billion in their last funding round. So, I wonder if they're going to have another one because we're getting to a point, I know we talked about this a lot as far as OpenAI and how much of that market that they are cornering and or garnering, just in the sense like, hey, we're trying to get this market, right? And I mean, they are very poised to do that, right? And I think, there was another article that talking about their next gen AI that they're partnering with a lot of high level universities and research institutions to bring AI education and tools and everything to these researchers. And I think it was maybe about 50 million that OpenAI is investing into that. A few universities that was on that list. Howard University, just to name one, it was on there. We're very happy to see HBCU getting involved with that type of technology. However, it's not the right HBCU in my opinion, but we're that's neither here nor there. But however, like I said, it is great to see that. But amongst the top universities, Harvard was on that list, MIT, and a few others as well. But it's crazy to see the rapid growth from OpenAI. It's almost scary good, right?
I guess the continued rapid growth, right? Because like if we kind of consider like, 2022, like when, when it really blew up, right? Like it's kind of like that they're still growing. And I'm not necessarily surprised. I just think that every time that I feel like DeepSeek, when that came out and that kind of shook everything up, and Google, and of course Google and Gemini and all that, and Grok 3, which we can't just dismiss that, because Grok 3, what they're cooking up over there at XAI, whatever those next iterations are as well, like there's a lot of competition is what I want to say holistically in the industry, right? Like with all these major players that are out there, of course, Anthropic with Claude and all the things that they have. But it's just that OpenAI still continues to seem like they have like a little bit of like they still have that lead. And every time that it seems like the gap is being closed, that they just, they jump out, with something like on this scale, right? I mean, and they just keep going like that. So I'm just wondering, like, how that's going to unfold over time, like, because it just seems like every time that somebody comes out like with a model that kind of rivals
Right.
their current thing,
They're
they're like,
like,
oh, well, we haven't
they're
even
like,
released
oh,
Claude
you got
3.
that? That's cute. This is what we got.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what's
Like,
coming.
it's like, they're like, oh, that's cute, bro. That's cute.
That's right. Yeah. And that's kind of how it happens. I mean, like they still have that. But I mean, like I do think that individuals are catching up as we keep watching the LLM arena, and just like I look at all the benchmarks and all those things that are coming up. And DeepSeek R2 is coming out soon too. So, and then there's apparently like there's new things like diffusion LLM. So basically, instead of like having a token at a time, like, sequential order tokens, like this will have more like a diffusion model, like it does with some of the art, like a image.
Right.
What are we calling that? Not image to video,
Yeah.
but text to image. Like Mid Journey was doing a lot of that, but I think original Dolly. But essentially, those diffusion models were creates it and recreates it, and the whole point is just like basically the test time compute could be a lot less, and the time for LLM to respond if it does that diffusion type method could be a lot shorter than what it takes right now with minutes and everything like that. So there's just a lot. It is super cool, but yeah,
No,
I'm
I
just
think it'd be cool to
excited
see
to kind of
how
see
it
how
unfolds.
everything
Like
unfolds.
I said, we're in that era, that phase right now of like rapid movement, and it's almost hard to keep up with everything, right? But this is why we're here. So hey, whoever got the bag and wants to invest in that 20K agent, or you don't got to go that deep in your bag and just get the $2,000 agent. Let me know. I want to see what type of props you got. Man, I just look. Just share your screen just a little bit, like 5 minutes. I just want to see it.
Oh, you gonna get that. You gonna get one of them. I can see it already. You might.
Listen, I
Don't
don't
try to
know,
act like
but yeah.
you might do it.
But hey, man, now this
I'm
is
thinking
this is
about
a
it.
great conversation because I just
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
there's so much going on, but it's hard to keep up. But this is just us staying on top of the game because this is some good stuff, right? But yeah,
It's interesting. Always a pleasure. Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. And definitely, if you guys have questions or any, topics, or if you want us to dig deeper into anything, we have interviews lined up. Deuce, like some of the people in the academia space that you mentioned, like in the AI research that are right now that we'll be bringing on, so we can kind of talk to there. And also just looking at different ways that, like, there's a lot of talks about large language models and all these other things,
hey,
but
not just
even
boxing,
boxing
sports
is getting
in
into
general.
AI, and a lot of the sports. A lot of sports in general are they have different use cases that they're exploring as it is right now. So innovation teams are cooking right now when it comes to that.
Well, I would say they're expanding. I would say not just sports, but they're expanding the sports reach, right? Because you got to think, a lot of sports like football, of course, it's been there. We've seen those gen stats that Amazon does for the NFL, right? But they're really expanding their reach in a lot of different things and areas. So it's really cool. But yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up to talk about. And as always, you guys like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we'll see y'all on the next one.